Hey everybody, Rory from ANSgear. We've got the 3 rebuild kits for the Ninja series regulators up on the table just to do an update as what comes in these repair kits. So upstairs I have a Pro V3 reg, I have a Pro V2 reg, and then I have a standard ultralight regulator here as well. And then we've got the kits for that. So we've got our standard rebuild kit, our Pro V2 rebuild kit, and our Pro V3 rebuild kit. The kits, as you see right here, 2 of them do come with an extra burst disc in there. I would assume if you're buying one of these repair kits is because you have a leak or you've blown the 1.8K burst disc on there, and that is common after a length of time where debris, dirt gets into the regs. There's no way to really stop that from happening. It will happen, and eventually the reg will need to be serviced because it's a working part. You need to service it. So we're going to look at the pieces that you get in each one and kind of give you a brief description as to how or where those parts go inside of each one. So we're going to start with the standard rebuild kit right here. So I'm going to try to dump all the parts out here, make sure I get everything. I do. So inside this, you're going to get some shims, and the shims are used to adjust pressures. Each shim is thinner or thicker. The red ones are going to be one particular thickness, the silver one's a little bit thinner, and depending on how you have them inside the regulator will control pressure. You're also going to get 2 set screws to hold the bonnet in place, as well as an assortment of O-rings. We'll talk about these O-rings in just a second and to where they go. And then one little ball right here, a little Teflon ball. Looks like a little ball bearing, and we'll talk about where that goes as well. So that's going to go for your standard Ninja, and this is the newest version of the standard or ultralight regulator that has the large pin valve on it. If you have a ball style valve or the older pin, which is much thinner, this is not the kit you want. You'll have to contact Ninja and have them get you one, because I don't know if we still have those. I know we don't have them here, but I don't know if Ninja's still producing those. So to do this, we're going to take the 2 set screws off the side. Make sure that whenever you're working with regulators that they are degassed, or you're working, if this is on a bottle, that system has no pressure in it. You can always check by pushing the pin down like that and making sure that it doesn't have any gas inside of it. Once we have the 2 set screws off, then we can unscrew the bonnet right off the top. And again, not under pressure. So the bonnet's going to come off like that, and then sitting underneath your bonnet for this particular style regulator, you're going to have your spring, your piston, your pin spring, and your pin right there. I'm going to set those down for a second. And then inside here, you can see that there are some shims already in there. By adding shims, we increase the output pressure, and by removing shims, we decrease the output pressure. So if you want to take a standard regulator and we want to drop it to its lowest output pressure, like 450, 500 output, we would go in and we would remove all the shims out of there. If we wanted to have it at its highest output pressure, 800 to 850, we'd make sure all the shims are in there. Now you can't just continually stack shims on top of shims and just keep bumping the pressure way, way up. It doesn't work that way. There's a finite area of where the regulator is intended to work. 400 to 450 to 8 to 850. If you need to go higher, then you need to buy a different regulator that accommodates those pressures. Or if you want to go lower, same thing. But for this regulator, that's the working area right there. So these shims that are in your parts kit are replacements for these shims. They are not extras for these shims. So they're not meant to take these and then stack these on top as well. No. If you lose one, say you've dropped the pressure, so you've taken all the shims out, now you don't know where your shims are, you can buy the kit and put more shims back in. So that's the way that works. We've got that. And those shims just nestle down at the bottom, down in there. So with our piston, we've got, let me take the spring off. You can just wipe the spring down. You've got an O-ring down here at the bottom, so the lower piston O-ring, which is this one right here. You've got the upper piston O-ring, which is going to be that one right there. So those two go in that spot right there. You've got this one right here, which is a 00690 typically. That is your one-way O-ring inside here. So there's a shuttle that moves back and forth inside here to when pressure comes in to fill, the shuttle shifts back and allows pressure to go inside. When you disconnect or when you stop filling, the pressure trying to come up through the bottom forces the shuttle back the other way, and the O-ring seals inside there so that air can't come out the other way. So if you have a leak out of the front of your fill nipple right here, that's your fill nipple O-ring that you're going to replace it with. This little ball bearing right here, this Teflon one, is your reg seat, and that's at the bottom of your piston right there. If you look in from the top, there's a hole that goes all the way through, but that little bearing, that little Teflon ball right there is in the way. And that's the seat that seals down inside there. When it comes down in, it pushes against a little nub down there and it seals. If you have blown your 1.8 disc, then there's a good chance that either the seat has gone bad, the ball bearing has gone bad. I shouldn't say ball bearing, the ball has gone bad. Or this upper O-ring has failed, the lower one's failed. So that's why you replace them all right there. And then they give you that burst disc. To get this out, all you need to do is take a tiny Allen key like this, put it in there, and then tap it from the top, and it will pop the ball out. You take the new ball, you set it right on the piston on top of it, and you just push down, and it will go right into place right there. And then it sets it. That's all you need to do. And then this last O-ring right here is for the bonnet. Excuse me. So if you look up inside the bonnet, you'll see that there's an O-ring that sits up in that upper cavity right around this hole right here. The pin, when it comes up in through the bonnet, it seals against this O-ring, and that's what doesn't let the pressure come up through the top. So if you have a leak coming out of your pin, you see this right here, and you have a coming out the top right there, it's this O-ring right there. Now this O-ring and this O-ring may look like they're the same size and that they're interchangeable. They are not. Do not put one in place of the other. This hard white one is meant for the very top up there and up the top there only. And this like duller yellowish clear one is for the lower section of the piston. That's it. Your burst disc, you just take that out, screw that one in, tighten it up. There is a torque rating for those, so check your manual for that for your regulator. Or go to Ninja's website, they have it on there. And that's it. Very rare that you would have to replace your 7.5. Those rarely go out, so that's why they only offer the 1.8 in the kit right there. All right. Move. I got a whole mess here. Let me put this thing back together. Nah, I don't want to waste my time with you guys putting that back together. You guys don't want to see me put it back together. You don't need that. I'm just going to slide it all over here. Then I'll deal with it later. All right, moving over to the Pro V2 regulator. This is the exact same setup as far as what you're going to get for parts. Shims are a little different in color because the reg internally is built, well, I shouldn't say it's built different. It's just that they're using that for the Pro style right there. You still have your O-rings, same ones. You've got your upper piston, your lower piston, your bonnet top for the pin, and your one-way. But you also have some different screws right here. See, you've got these ones are shorter, and these ones are longer right here. And there's going to be two different screws that you're going to use right here. So this upper bonnet screw right here, you've got that one. And then there is a lower screw down here. One controls the rotation of the brass piece. See how that one's longer? So the longer screw goes in through the brass section, the shorter screw goes up through the bonnet. And unlike this reg over here, which only used 2, these use 3 to go all the way around. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 right there. But disassembly, reassembly is all the same for this. Burst discs are the same. Screws are a little different because you've got more of them going on there. But where the O-rings sit and what the piston physically looks like on the inside, 100% identical. It's going to work the same way. Now over here for the Pro V3 style regulator, you do get less stuff inside there. You do not get a burst disc. And you do not get an upper pin seat. And you do not get a one-way O-ring. What you're going to get are just basically the rebuilds for the internal section of the regulator. You're going to get your ball for the bottom of your piston, so your reg seat right there. Well, you do get an Allen key too. You don't get an Allen key in the other ones, but you get one in this one. So I mean, I guess I should take that out. There you go. So you've got your upper piston, lower piston, and then reg seat ball right there. And these are all for the piston. You get 3 screws because these screws are the same. So there's an upper and a lower screw on here. They are identical in length, so you can interchange them any way you want. And that's the setup in there. I should probably, because this one is slightly different, I'll take this reg apart real quick just so you can see. I don't know if we've got this one coming apart at all. So we'll take these 6 screws out, and then you can see the separation of the bonnet and the body, which is a little different. All right, so once the screws are out, we're degassed, nothing's going to come out of there. We can unscrew this collar that will come off there. Screws rolling away. And then we've got this upper bonnet section right here, which they do sell replacement pieces for. If you want aluminum, you can get red like this one, or all black. They sell a brass one. They sell a stainless steel one, so you can replace this section up here. But then I can pull my piston out. If I just wiggle it a little bit, and you can see that there's still that O-ring up on the top up there, but they don't put that in the parts kit for the Pro V3. We've got our upper piston O-ring, our lower piston O-ring, and then our ball at the bottom right there. And then the shims sitting in the same spot. So the reg isn't really different internally. It just has some different out pieces for the outside right there. That goes on there. That goes on there. And then we would screw it all back together with our set screws. So there you have it. What you get inside the Pro V3 Ninja rebuild kit, the Pro V2 Ninja rebuild kit, and then the standard Ninja Reg rebuild kit. This will work on the standard and the ultralight. This was the ultralight that we had right here. But they have to be the current version of the regulator with the large pin on them. No ball regs, because that's not going to work, or older thin pin. You need to get some for that as well. But here we have it. I shouldn't say Pro, Ninja rebuild kits for all the regulators on the website right now. Get yours today, ANSgear.com.